So you've got this brilliant idea, right? A game-changing concept that you just know is going to be a home run. But here's the secret. The thing that separates those fleeting ideas from real, lasting success, it all starts with the problem, not your solution. Today, we're going to build the ultimate blueprint for that big idea by crafting the perfect problem statement. This is probably the single most important question you can ask yourself. So many amazing solutions end up failing simply because they solve a problem nobody really has, or they just completely misunderstand the real issue. It's so easy to fall in love with our solution before we've even truly diagnosed the pain. So let's make sure your great idea is aimed squarely at the right target. And to do that, we've got a really clear 5-part framework. We're going to start by defining the what, then we'll dig into the why. We'll measure the impact, find the proof, and then finally define what it actually means to win. Think of this as your roadmap, taking you from a kind of vague idea to a truly validated opportunity. Okay, let's dive right into this first crucial step, defining the core issue. This is the absolute foundation of your entire project. If this part is shaky, everything you build on top of it will be shaky too. We need crystal clarity here. And the keyword here is specific. Making meetings more efficient? That's a wish, right? It's not really a problem statement. But remote teams waste an average of 15 minutes per meeting just on technical setup and finding documents. Now that is a specific problem we can really start to solve. You've got to get granular. So once you have the what, you've got to find the who. Who is feeling this pain the most? Is it project managers? Is it freelance designers? A generic everyone is a massive red flag. Pinpointing your user, like project managers at fast-growing tech startups, it focuses your entire effort. And finally, what's the context here? When and where does this pain actually strike? For a little meeting problem, it might be most painful during those big cross-time zone client presentations. This context is absolutely critical because it defines the boundaries and the most urgent situation for any solution you might come up with. Okay, so we've defined the problem. Now let's move on to the next stage. We have to understand why it even exists. Think of it like this. We're going from being a doctor who just identifies a symptom to one who actually diagnoses the underlying disease. Now, what's so interesting here is that you're looking at two sides of the why. First, what are the root causes? Maybe teams are using way too many different disconnected apps. And second, how are they trying to fix it right now? Maybe they're using checklists or blocking out extra time. The gap, that space between the root cause and why the existing solutions just aren't cutting it, that's your sweet spot. That is your opportunity. But an opportunity is only as big as the pain it solves, which brings us to the next huge question. So what? Why does this actually matter? Look, a problem that's just a minor annoyance isn't a business. But a problem that causes significant, measurable pain, now you're talking. You see, a real problem creates ripple effects. That wasted meeting time we keep talking about, well, for individuals, it causes frustration, maybe even burnout. For the business, it means delayed projects and bloated payroll costs. You could even argue there's a wider economic impact from all that lost productivity. Tracing these ripples really shows the true gravity of the issue. And this is how you make that pain undeniable. You put a number on it. If a company with, say, 100 employees is wasting 15 minutes every meeting, that can add up to thousands of hours and maybe millions of dollars a year in lost productivity. A single, powerful number like that, it transforms a problem into an urgent, strategic priority. Okay, so you've defined the problem. You understand its impact. It feels really real to you. But how do you prove it to other people, to investors, to your team, or even just yourself? This next part is all about moving from just an assumption to hard evidence. And we're going to look at it from two angles: the hard numbers, the quantitative proof, and the human stories, the qualitative proof. You absolutely need both. You have to start with the hard, quantitative data. This could be from industry reports, academic studies, maybe your own surveys. Numbers give your argument an objective backbone. They show that this isn't just your personal pet peeve, it's a widespread, quantifiable issue. But data by itself can be a little cold, right? You need the qualitative side, the human voice. A direct quote like, "I spend the first 10 minutes of every client call apologizing for technical glitches. It makes us look so unprofessional." Wow, that adds the emotional weight that data just can't. It's the story behind the statistic. And finally, you ground all of it in a real-life example, a mini case study that walks through a specific scenario.
A product's launch that got delayed or a client that was lost, all because of this one problem. This makes all those abstract concepts of data and quotes completely tangible and super easy to grasp.
All right, we've made it to the final step. We've defined the problem, we get its context, we've measured its impact, and we've proved it exists. Now, before we even start dreaming about a solution, we have to define what victory looks like. What does solved actually mean?
This is all about establishing your success criteria. It's your finish line. The goal isn't just to launch a new meeting app. The goal is to reduce time spent on technical setup and meetings from 15 minutes down to under 2 minutes. See the difference? One is just an activity. The other is a measurable outcome that proves you solved the problem.
And here is a simple, really powerful process to do it. First, you identify the metric. What are you actually measuring? For our example, it's setup time. Second, you need a baseline. Where are you starting from? We said 15 minutes. Third, you define a clear target. What's the goal? Let's say under 2 minutes. And finally, you have to track it. This whole process turns a vague ambition into a clear, data-driven mission that keeps you totally honest. And that brings us to the final, powerful question that this entire framework has been leading up to. Once you have gone through these 5 steps, you can ask yourself with total clarity, is this a problem worth solving? If you have a specific issue, a clear cause, a major impact, solid proof, and a measurable definition of success, well, then the answer is a resounding yes. You don't just have an idea anymore, you have a blueprint for success.